Today, you're going to learn the top 5 fitness failures and food mistakes that I made when I made fitness and food my life. Yes, you know that I've shared many times over and over again on this podcast that fitness was my life and food took over my life as well. Some of the things that I'm going to share with you may seem counterintuitive and even illogical, but we know that it's because of the culture of the world. It screams at us. It screams at us to chase quote unquote instant and overnight success. But sisters, you and I both know that that is a big red flag, since we know that what we look like on the outside is not our aim on this side of heaven. And I need to make a mention that as Christ followers, we get to pursue health from the inside out, heart, soul, mind, and body. And my main goal in this episode is really to increase your awareness and keep your heart sensitive to how the world's desire is for you to conform to its patterns. It's going to continue to do that over and over again, even on an hourly basis for some of us. And my second goal for this episode is to encourage you to keep making small steps and small changes toward keeping your mind and body strong so that you can serve those around you. And here's a worthy reminder that when it comes to setting fitness and weight loss goals as a Christian woman, the goal is really to be spirit-led versus self-led. So I want you to keep that in mind as you listen to every single one of these episodes, not just this episode. Enjoy the episode and learn from my fitness failures and food mistakes so that you can skip the potholes, knock out those setbacks, and keep striving to walk in the Spirit. Let's go. As a Christian female in the fitness industry, I've seen so many women frustrated as they search for transformation through diets and exercise alone. And what I realized is that God's Word, the most important part of this life for a Christian, seems to be the portion that's always missing from what we're being taught about being fit and healthy. Courageous Fit Female is a podcast for women who love Jesus and want to get fit and healthy His way. Want to seek His truth versus what the world says? Then let's get into today's show. Hey sisters, before we get started, I want to ask you a question, and that is, are you looking for accountability? Are you looking for someone to hold your hand, to walk with you as you are confused in this world of 1 million ways to get healthy, and how do you get fit, and how do you get started, and how do you even take the first step, right? There's so many different ways that we can get started, but there's no cookie cutter way to do this. Everyone is going to be different. Everyone has an individualized or should have a customized approach to their individual needs based on their values and based on their individual flexibilities, their strengths, their weaknesses. And so I don't believe in fitness out of a box. I don't believe in health out of a box. And there are tons of programs out there. I know there are tons of programs out there that help you along the way, and those are great too. But for me as a Christian woman, I know it's important to you as it is to me to be led and guided by someone who loves the Lord and who is finding ways to do this health thing and keeping Jesus at the center, because this world, this culture is bombarded with ways to look better, to feel better. And those things are not bad. But if we make it our focus, which mostly almost 100% of programs that I know of, actually all the programs that I know of, they are based on aesthetics and they are based on performance. And when you approach fitness, weight loss, health, your journey with that in mind, then it's obvious what you're going to fix your mind on and fix your heart on. So are you looking for faith-filled accountability as you walk through your faith and health and fitness journey? Because if you're tired of doing it all by yourself because you don't know what to do and you just want someone to walk with you, let me help you through this journey. You're going to get a straightforward plan to start with right away as we keep Jesus at the center as you do coaching with me. All you have to do is email me to book your first coaching session. There's no more complicating things. There's no reason to do that. There's no more wondering where to start, because if you feel stuck and you don't know how to begin, email me right now so we can replace frustration with freedom. It is super frustrating when you don't know what to do, but you want to get started and you have the right intentions and the right motives, but you don't know what to do. What are the steps? I'm going to help you. Email me at jacqueline@courageousfitfemale.com. I linked it down below. That's Jacqueline, Jaclyn. Okay, mistake number 1 is to eat less. And along with eating less, what do we do when we eat less? We are prone to count every single calorie, to log everything in MyFitnessPal, to write down every single bite that you eat, right? We're careful of every bite, every crumb. Sometimes we even go as far as weighing everything, and we scrutinize every single macro. I've been there. I've done it. I think the longest that I've actually logged my food for MyFitnessPal was, I think, 2 years. Maybe it was 1 year. Anyways, I just remember it being so exhausting, and my mind was just so tired of thinking, oh wait, I forgot to log it down on my last meal. I think I ate 4 bites of that, not 3 bites of that. And I need to, make sure that every bite is accounted for, every calorie is accounted for. And then we, at the same time, we deprive ourselves. And listen, okay, there is a time and there is a place and there is a season to do that, right? To track every calorie. But the point here is, the mistake is eating less, right? So the time and the place and the season for this is the question of, are you competing? Are you doing a bikini figure competition? Then by all means, go for it, right? Find the right person to guide you to do that. But I guarantee that most of you listening are not here to find out how to calculate your macros, right? You just want to live a healthy life in general. And anyway, studies show, ladies, that the majority of us who have attempted these things, they have failed attempts. And I'm raising my hand for that. 95% ended up returning to the place that they started at. Nearly 3 out of 4 people carried a larger shaped body than when they first started their new change, their diet, their exercise. And we're talking about this mistake number 1 of eating less, okay? Now, the tip for this that I want to give you is opposite of eating less, which is eat more. And I know that sounds scary. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds illogical and it sounds counterintuitive, but you need to eat more. Eat until you are just starting to feel full. Now, I want you to observe your fullness. This is going to be something new for many of you. Learn to start when you're hungry and just stop when you feel satisfied. So if you think of a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 or 2 on the scale represents, when you're feeling lightheaded and you just can't concentrate and you're hangry, that's 1 and 2 on the scale. And then 9 and 10 at the opposite end represents starting to feel sick. Like, why did I eat all this food, right? And why did I stuff my face? And now I'm in a buffet coma. So try shooting for an 8 on the scale, which is where you're full and you're happy, not like crazy full, coma full, right? We know that this is the way that God intended for us to eat. We eat for fuel, we eat for energy, enough to be usable, not useless to the point of having a stomachache because we ate more than we needed. So mistake number 1 is eating less. Now, again, it sounds counterintuitive. I get it, because it's like when you want to try getting more fit and healthy and losing weight and changing the shape of your body, for most of us, we're going to want to eat less because we're thinking, well, if we eat less, we're going to have less calories, and less calories means less intake, and less intake means that we're going to shed fat. Well, that's actually contrary to what our limited minds think. If you actually track what you eat, you're going to see that you need more intake. You need more quality foods. And it's not that you can't eat the cakes. You just need to learn how to have flexibility and discipline as you consume your food. So if you're eating less because you want to change the shape of your body, you want to lose weight, right? And all of that, the first mistake you're going to do is you're going to eat less. But I am giving you this uncommon tip of eating more. Eat just enough until you start to feel full. Again, number 8 on that scale between 1 to 10, you want to be full and happy. This may take time for some of you, but your body is designed to know when to stop eating. You need to be very intentional of paying attention to that hunger level. Okay. So that is my challenge to you. And that is my tip to you, is to eat less and pay attention more to your hunger levels so you know when to start and when to stop. Mistake number 2 is putting your trust in a custom meal plan. You know how you can pay someone to create a custom meal plan for you? I've done that in the past. I've paid someone to give me a custom meal plan where they've planned out my breakfast, my lunch, my snacks, my dinner, my beverages. And I will be honest with you, it worked. Okay, it worked. But the thing here is that when we do put our trust in a meal plan, we need to ask ourselves this question. And that is it realistic? And is it sustainable? Is it something that you can do for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next 1 year of your life, the rest of your life even? Because if it's not, then it's just going to give you some kind of transformation that you're looking for. Yes. But what happens when you go to a party? Are you going to cancel out on your family party and your get-togethers because they don't have the food that is on your meal plan? So that's what I mean by, is it realistic and is it sustainable? We need to learn how to have flexibility and be disciplined, right? And be okay with that, because if you put your trust in this meal plan, you're going to cancel out on friends and birthday parties and get-togethers because you're afraid of the cake and the the fun foods that are there. I remember one time being with a friend and she said she has to leave because there was a celebration that we had and she didn't want to get to the part where the cake was, passing out the cake. She was afraid. And so you don't want to get to that point. And if you've already gotten to that point, this is probably the reason why, is maybe you were on a meal plan and you're like, okay, there's no cake on the meal plan. I can't stay here. So are you really going to follow the meal plan, or are you going to waste money? Again, what happens if life happens? Life is going to happen, right? Life can get in the way of our projects, our personal projects. Now, here's a way to decide if a meal plan is for you. If you can say that you enjoy strict rules, if you enjoy do's and don'ts, then eating like that is for you. And I know some of you may be that way. Again, it worked for me, but it didn't work entirely. I ended up slipping off because life happens, and I enjoy cake, right? You enjoy cake too. I know most of you, if not all of you though, your goal is to just be living a healthy life without all the rules and the restrictions, because you're sick of that life. You're sick of having to just be in a box and you're not able to have fun foods. Maybe your custom meal plan does include fun foods, but I just want you to think, is it realistic and is it sustainable? Are you really going to follow it? And that the mistake there is that you're putting your trust in it. There is a place and time for that again, but I don't believe that you're trying to compete in a bikini or a figure show, or else you wouldn't be listening to this podcast, right? If not, this points back to number 1, which is essentially intuitive eating. My coach calls it empowered eating. So you eat when you're hungry, you stop when you're no longer hungry. And this leads me to tip number 2, for mistake number 2, is eat according to your values. Eat according to your values. That was so mind-blowing when I learned that from my coach, and I'm passing it along to you, that when you eat according to your values. So, for example, my top 5 values, and by the way, you can take a test I'll link it down below on personal values. And when you take that test, it's going to give you your top values. Now, my top 5 values are Jesus and being obedient to him, religion. That's what they call it. They call it religion. So that's my first value. And then it goes Jesus, love, family, compassion, and loyalty. Those are my top 5 values. Look for the link down below and you can take that test and figure out what your values are and eat according to your values. So for me, my overall goal when I eat is to eat in such a way that's going to support my values. I don't get it done perfectly every day, but my mind is set to fuel my body in a way that is going to give me energy to serve my family and my needs as I serve the Lord, right? And when the Lord calls me to do something that requires a strong body, I know that what I'm eating is going to support that thing physically, because I'm fueling my body good with these good foods that fuel my body with energy. So mistake number 2 is putting your trust in a meal plan, in a custom meal plan. And the tip for that is to eat according to your values. Again, I'll link it down below for the personal values test. So look for that there. It takes some time to do it. It actually takes about 15-30 minutes even I think when I took the test, it was like 30 minutes. So you're going to have to set your mind, set a scheduled time to sit down and take that test to figure out what your values are. And I highly encourage you to do that. That's actually what I do for my clients as they come in. I have them take that values test so I can help to formulate and customize their specific fitness and food and faith plan as they do coaching with me. Okay, mistake number 3 is exercising more. And along with exercising more is never resting, and not even believing in rest. For me, I've shared that I've done 8 to 9 sessions of exercise a week. That was a bit crazy. That's crazy. Like, can you guess what my values were back then? It was probably like health, pleasure, excitement, beauty, and acceptance. And, my motive was to look good on the outside. And who cares about what I was hiding in my heart? Frustration, jealousy, competition, self-seeking, self-serving, selfish ambition. And rest was not in my vocabulary. I was prideful, right? I would say, I'm strong. I don't believe in rest days. And as a matter of fact, I was just talking to my husband about this the other day. He was putting something at the back of our trunk, and usually, like back then, I would take it out and not even wait for him. I would just do it, but I was letting him do it this time, and I was like, wow, I remember when I wouldn't allow you to help me. I would actually be the one to carry the heavy things into the car because I was prideful. I was like, I can do it. I'm strong, right? So anyways, I did not believe in rest days back then. And as a matter of fact, I was told that there is no such thing as rest days. I was misguided into believing that, and eventually I had FOMO. I had a fear of missing out. Like I would never want to skip a class. I would never want to skip an event at the gym. And I started to believe that rest was for weak people, right? I am weak though. Who am I kidding? As a Christian today, I'm like, I am weak. So if I'm going to let someone tell me that there's no such thing as rest days and you're missing out and you missed out and you're weak if you had, if you skipped out this week on a class or whatnot, hey, I am weak and I'm not here to please man. And I don't say that in a prideful way. I say that as that's the reality. We should not be here to please man. We should not be here to prove a point to man. We should be here to walk out this life how God for the things that God has called us to do. Anyways, I am weak. You're weak. Who are we kidding, right? But I started to believe that if I rest, then I wasn't going to see results. That's vanity. But I would exercise like crazy and okay, fine. My body changed. The transformation of my body, it looked good on the outside, but then nobody knew that I was doing all these things behind my husband's back and I didn't care about my kids, right? Like that exercise more is such a lie. It's like, okay, if you want to transform your body, exercise more. And honestly, every now and then I would think that to myself, like, oh, I feel like I'm putting on some weight, right? I have these fleshly, worldly, thoughts and lies that and then I had to tell myself, my body that's not how I'm defined by. I'm defined by how Christ defines me. And then as far as rest, our bodies are meant to rest. Physically, emotionally, mentally, there are all these things that life will demand of us, and we need to learn how to rest. Psalm 127:2 says, "It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he gives his beloved sleep." So God actually cares about rest. He cares about sleep. The psalmist says it right there, that it is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late. So if we don't know how to rest, if we can't accept that we do need to rest, we are going to exhaust ourselves. We're going to get to the point of burnout. And how is the Lord going to use us? How is our family going to use us? How are we going to be usable, period? When my life was swallowed in all my selfish fitness goals, it was obvious that I did not trust the Lord. I had a lack of trust in his promises and his plans for me. I didn't even know the Lord at the time. He was nowhere a part of my plans. But today, those of you who are listening, Jesus is the center of your life. Your desire is to want to include him in everything and as many things as possible. And if your mentality, your mindset, your goal is to get the exercise in like as many days out of the week as possible and you're not resting, how is that God honoring? So I want you to think about that. I'll say it again. You need to rest. Exercise may seem more like, that's what you need to do, but it's a big fat lie that gets you exhausted, keeps you prideful, and doesn't leave room for you to trust God and his design for your body. This is a mistake because you think you need to burn more calories, just like the food thing that we explained earlier, so that you can get to your goal faster. But the opposite is true because we will for sure burn out, number one, and your body will actually be holding on to body fat. Science has proven it over and over again. Hey, sisters, Who's the creator of science? Last time I checked, it was God. It is God. And he created our bodies, but he didn't create it so that we can drive ourselves to the ground to the point of exhaustion or to slip into deception that we can do it all, because we cannot do it all. We are not God. Tip number 3, if you are exercising more, the tip is that if you really have the urge to move your body, you can always do a quick cleanup of your house, because we all have stuff that needs to be organized. Right? So organize and clean up your bed, clean up your sink, your shower, your car. If you feel like you need to move, stay home, clean your area, clean your work desk, whatever is unorganized. Set a timer and go for 30 minutes of organizing. And I promise you that you're going to be surprised at how many things you can put in order. When the timer is up, you're going to look around like, whoa, wow, like I cleaned up lots of stuff here in no time. And another tip here is to call it a day and make peace with rest, sisters. It's okay to skip your workout. Life is still going to be there. Our bodies are not designed to keep running. And when I rest, it's not only a time when my muscles recover, but it's when the muscles get a chance to grow and do its thing. Because muscles do not grow when you're working out, believe it or not. It's when we are resting. That's when muscles actually grow, and that's when it repairs. It's actually muscle tears, microfiber tears that happen when we're working out and we're lifting weights, and then it repairs and restores itself. The microfibers restore itself, and that's when it grows, is when we're resting. But more importantly, when I rest, it gives me a chance to not have a podcast episode playing in my earbuds or a playlist going on in the background, but to be free of all the noise. It's a time for me to reflect on the day, how the Lord brought me through it. And then I can also meditate on what I read or heard from earlier that day. And however that looks like for you, just insert a rest day, insert 2 rest days. Why do you think the Lord commanded us to have a Sabbath day? He gave us a Sabbath day so that we can trust in him to do his thing, even though we aren't working, because it's not about work. It's about our faith. It's about our faith that works. So put your trust in God, rest in his promises, have a Sabbath day, sisters, once a week. And remember that exercising more does not equal happiness or contentment. Rest, meaning no activity planned for at least one day. Mistake number 3 is exercising more and not including rest days. Okay, moving on to number 4. Mistake number 4 is making lots of changes at once. I know all of us are raising our hands on this. So when you want to transform your body, you want to get healthier, you typically make lots of changes. And this is a big mistake. So imagine going from the couch to the gym 5 days a week. Imagine going from switching up your sodas to water in one day. Wow. Burgers and fries to all of a sudden salads. No cake, no ice cream, nor cookies. And all of a sudden you're going to eat fruits only. No hanging out with friends because I need to sleep early, etc. And you do all of that and all those changes happening at once. The truth of the matter is to make just one change at a time. And I want you to reset your mind to thinking, instead of just adding, but replace instead. So replace versus adding. So it leads me to tip number 4, which is replace the time that you spend on YouTube with going for a walk or engaging in something that gets your heart rate up or strengthens your body. In other words, don't just add exercise into your life along with the other 39 other new things you have going on. That just means that you're looking for burnout. Again, burnout, right? Nobody likes burnout. Nobody wants burnout. So you're going to replace something with what you're already doing. If you are starting a new routine, for example, stop one of the other routines that you know you can do without and replace that with the new routine. Do not keep adding things. That is a huge mistake because you cannot do all the things. You are not God. I mean, maybe for a little while it'll work, and then all of a sudden you're going to feel like a failure, and then you're going to give up. Then you're going to go back to square one. So tip number 4 is to replace versus add. We're almost done. Number 5 is strap yourself to an exercise program. If you're raising your hand for this, this is what it looks like. When you strap yourself to an exercise program, that is a mistake because just like the meal plans, life happens. When I say life happens, this is what it looks like. So I'm in a program right now, an exercise program, and it's a 45-day program. And right now, as I record this, They are starting week 3, but guess where I'm at in the program? I'm still on week 1, but I'm okay with that because I'm putting my trust in the plans and the people that the Lord is putting in front of me. And I'm learning to strive to be obedient even when it's uncomfortable and way out of my personal plans. So you can have a better visual example of why you shouldn't strap yourself to a program. I want to share this with you. So here's a rundown of random things that have happened over the last couple of weeks. And this is why I'm still on week 1 for the 45-day program. So I'm going to share this with you. I want you to imagine, okay? So right now, what's happening in my life is that we're reorganizing parts of our house and we're purging lots of junk. And also we had plans to celebrate with different friends for a gender reveal. We have some friends that I committed to catching up with on a Zoom call or going with walks with them to talk about the Lord and to catch up. And all of those take time. Plans to go walking with one of my sisters who just wants to catch up with her big sister. I have a close family member who needs special attention because of cancer. I have phone calls to make and doctor's appointments to get to. I have date nights every Saturday. There's cooking, there's cleaning, there's need for rest, there's spending time in scripture, and all of that is important to me. So I can cancel any of those plans so that I can work out, but based on my values, which is Jesus, love, family, compassion, and loyalty, I am choosing to do the former over trying to fit myself into the exercise program because I don't want to burn myself out. Now, if I skip a workout in this program because a family member needs my help last minute, am I okay with that? I had to ask myself, am I okay with that? And only by the grace of God, He's brought me to the place where I can admit that, no, I'm not. I'm not okay because I don't like to be interrupted when I'm doing my job. I don't like to be disrupted when I have something going on, but I'm learning to trust in the Lord that He will allow things to happen that line up with His plans for me so He can get the glory. And if it doesn't meet my plans, I need to remember that His plans are greater than mine. His ways are higher than ours, right? Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways," says the Lord. Verse 9, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." This is what leads me to tip number 5. People over projects. Because your body and exercise program can be a project in and of itself, right? I challenge you to place people over projects. If the Lord is allowing people to be in front of you because they need your help, He needs you to serve them, you may be the only way that they see God's expression of love through you. So that's the way I think of it, and I'm passing it along to you. Tip number 5, people over projects. And if you're like, man, but Jacqueline, I don't want to skip my workout days, I get it. Okay, I get it, but I hope that you never put all your trust to be content or find joy in an exercise program, because even if you get the results you were after, even if you are happy, even if it makes you feel physically good, those are good things, right? But none of that will bring you true contentment. We know that Jesus is the only way to fulfill that empty part of our lives. So let me recap for you, ladies. Mistake number 1 is eating less and counting every single bite and calorie. And the tip for that is to eat more until you are just starting to feel full. On the scale of 1 to 10, shoot for an 8. Mistake number 2, putting your trust in a custom meal plan. And the tip for that is to eat according to your values. Again, look down below for the link. Take that values test. Figure out what your values are and eat based on that. Number 3, exercising more and not believing in rest in your life. And the tip for that is, if you really have the urge to move your body, set a countdown timer for 30 minutes and organize. Mistake number 4, making lots of changes all at once. Tip number 4 is that if you're making lots of changes at once, don't add all the changes at once. Replace something versus adding something in. And then mistake number 5 is strapping yourself to an exercise program. If you're doing that and you're putting all your hope and trust in that exercise program to transform your body, let's think about transforming our heart and our minds, right? And the tip number 5 for that is people over projects. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. There are way more mistakes than this, right? But these are like the top 5 things that I can think of that I want to pass along to you. If you're making these mistakes, you can take my mistakes and you can knock out those setbacks and take these 5 uncommon tips to help you out in your journey. If you're frustrated, maybe all you have to do is adjust one of the things that I shared, adjust one of those mistakes, and roll with it. Thanks for hanging out with me, ladies. And again, if you need help to walk on this journey to be fit for his kingdom, email me. It's down below, jacqueline@courageousfitfemale.com. Until the next episode, for his honor and for his glory, stay courageous and fit.